I was a decorated Navy commander, until a contentious divorce took my rank, my prestige, and the one thing I loved, my boat. I was literally scraping barnacles in Key West, feeling like the worst version of myself, when a mysterious lawyer named Mr. Davies appeared with a bomb, an $82 million inheritance, and an order to return to sea commanding a research vessel. Now, I am the captain of the Triton, sailing with a skeptical crew and secret orders from Washington. And I am certain that this fortune and this job are not a gift. They are payment to cover up the disgrace of my last disastrous Navy mission. Then not to watch. You will see the encrypted proof I found and the betrayal that led to my downfall. But the question is, will I use these $82 million to clear my name and finish the mission? Or will I be bought by the same system that destroyed me? If you want to know if I managed to uncover Admiral Graham's secret and retake command of my life, you need to subscribe to the channel now and activate the bell. After watching, tell me in the comments, would you trust Mr. Davies or take the money and run? I swear to you that this is the most tense and twist-filled story you will watch today. Don't miss it. My name is Cristian Vance, but for 20 years, to the US Navy, I was Commander Cris Vance. I sailed the Persian Gulf, commanded destroyers, and thought my future was sealed with a captain's rank and the respect of my peers. But life has a tide that is unforgiving. 6 months ago, my world was swallowed by the tsunami of a contentious divorce. The Navy discharged me after the Night Watch mission scandal, a disaster that, to them, was my fault. My ex-wife, Diane, made sure I lost every cent, and the most painful blow, my beloved schooner, the Serenity. So, here I am, Key West, Florida, 40 years old, a useless Naval Academy degree, and the smell of diesel fuel, my new life. I'm a charter captain, cleaning tourist boats under the scorching sun, feeling like a complete and total failure. The routine was the same, sanding, painting, breathing the sea spray that mocked my lost ambition. Navy life was a distant memory, a ghost I couldn't shake. I was a commander without a ship, a man without purpose. I was bent over, scrubbing the deck of a speedboat called the Tropical Treat, when my routine was broken. A man approached. He was the antithesis of Key West, a three-piece wool suit on a 95-degree day, wire-rimmed glasses, and a leather briefcase that looked like it was worth more than the speedboat I was cleaning. He had the austere, unmistakable air of a Manhattan lawyer. He stopped right in front of me, ignoring the smell of sweat and salt water. "Commander Cristian Vance?" he asked, his voice dry and polished. I wiped the sweat from my forehead with the back of my hand. "It's just Cris now. And yes, that's me." He opened the briefcase. What he said next wasn't just shocking. It was surreal. It was the exact phrase that would define my new hell or my miracle. "Are you Captain Cristian? You have just inherited $82 million and your job back." I thought it was a trick, the heat getting to me, or a cruel joke from Diane. But Mr. Jonathan Davies, as he introduced himself, was annoyingly professional. He led me to an air-conditioned cafe, away from the dock, and laid the documents in front of me. "The money is yours, Captain Vance, an inheritance from a benefactor who wishes to remain posthumously anonymous. It's a tax-free sum." Davies didn't blink. "But there is one clause, a single non-negotiable condition." The condition: I had to immediately accept command of the Triton, a state-of-the-art marine research vessel. The Triton, Davies explained, operated under a top-secret civil-military contract with the front agency of the U.S. Department of Defense for cutting-edge research in the Atlantic. It was a civilian ship, but with a military mission. It was my chance to return to the sea, to feel the deck under my feet, the wind on my face. But the mystery of the inheritance burned me. Who the hell would give me $82 million and a chance to resurrect my career? I confronted Davies, pushing the papers back. "Don't mess with me. There's no random $82 million inheritance. Who was this benefactor? And what does this fortune have to do with my departure from the Navy?" Davies sighed, exhibiting a hint of wariness for the first time. "The benefactor was Admiral Graham." The name hit me like a projectile. Admiral Graham, the commanding officer who oversaw my last disastrous mission, Night Watch, which resulted in my scandal and my fall. "An honor payment," Davies insisted. But I smelled something much deeper, much dirtier. I knew Admiral Graham didn't give gifts. He paid debts. Despite my doubts, I accepted. I needed the sea. I needed purpose. I drove to the port where the Triton was anchored. It was impressive. 300 feet of steel, satellite antennas, and a diving chamber that looked straight out of a sci-fi movie. I felt the ship was strangely familiar, like a dream I'd had but couldn't recall. I took command. The crew was a curious mix: eccentric civilian scientists, discreet-looking former military elites, and the operations officer Ava Sharma. Ava was a skeptic. Penetrating eyes, impeccable posture, and she clearly did not trust a disgraced ex-Navy commander. "Captain Vance," she told me, without mincing words, "this is a research vessel. It's not a destroyer. We don't tolerate ego or arbitrary orders here. Your reputation precedes you." The tension aboard was palpable. I had to prove my worth, not with a rank, but with action. Our departure test was a nightmare. A software glitch in the propulsion system sent us dangerously close to a reef, while unexpected waves battered the deck. Chaos gripped the bridge, but the commander instinct, which I thought I'd lost, took over. I shouted orders in old naval code, manually maneuvering the Triton. I saved the situation. Ava's look, at the end, was no longer skeptical. It was one of reluctant respect. I was the commander again. However, the calm brought back my doubts. Why would Admiral Graham give me a ship and $82 million? I started digging through the Triton's maintenance logs. It was Ava, in a rare moment of trust, who gave me the hint. The Admiral came here often. He was ... meticulous. I found it. Behind an instrument panel in my cabin, a secret compartment left by Admiral Graham. Inside, an encrypted disk and an old logbook. The logbook wasn't about the Triton. It was about the Night Watch mission. The Admiral's note suggested that the mission wasn't my failure, but a sacrifice. I had been the scapegoat to cover up a much bigger mistake, a mistake that wasn't mine. The money I deduced wasn't a random inheritance. It was payment for my silent retirement. I barely had time to process the discovery when orders arrived from Washington. It wasn't the Navy, but an email from a front agency, the seal of government bureaucracy. The new mission was clear and immediate. Investigate a deep-sea anomaly near the Florida Straits. I knew this anomaly was linked to Night Watch. Admiral Graham didn't want me to get rich. He wanted me to finish the mission. He couldn't. I was in an unbearable dilemma. Follow orders blindly, keeping the money and the job, or risk everything: my reputation, my freedom, and the ship to uncover the truth of my past. My private hell was interrupted by a demon from the past. My ex-wife Diane reappeared. She had found out about the fortune and, true to form, tried to force a reconciliation over the phone, questioning the money's source and threatening to expose the secret civil-military contract. She wanted back what the divorce hadn't given her. "You can't buy your way out, Cris," she sneered. "And if that money is illegal, I'll make sure you lose everything." Again, I used all my newfound strength to fend her off. The divorce took my boat, yes, but not my moral compass. I realized that even in Key West, without a rank, I was stronger than she would ever be. I wasn't broken anymore. With the Triton and my crew, I sailed towards the anomaly, the exact location where Night Watch had ended. I felt the weight of history on my shoulders. We arrived at the site. I looked at Ava, who now trusted me implicitly. Prepared the diving chamber. "I'm going down first," I ordered. I had to be the first to see the truth. The dive was risky, the pressure was immense, and the currents were treacherous. Ava, impressed by my leadership, was in control on the surface, her eyes fixed on my vital signs. We found it. It wasn't a sea monster or a bomb. It was the wreckage of secret military technology, something the Navy didn't want the world to see. This proved that Night Watch was abruptly terminated to hide this technology, not because of me. Admiral Graham had given me the money so that I could, in the future, finish the mission, not cover it up. His plan was clear. Give me the financial independence and the ship so I would have the power to clear my name. We returned to the surface. The Triton was intact. I had triumphed, proving that I was the leader the ship needed. I was, again, Commander Vance. I called Mr. Davies, demanding an immediate meeting on land to understand the full truth about the $82 million and the inheritance. Davies finally broke down. He revealed that Admiral Graham, on his deathbed, confessed the error that caused the failure of Night Watch, an error he forced the Navy to cover up, using me as a shield. The $82 million was, in fact, my payment for surviving the mission and, crucially, for accepting the blame. The Admiral knew that honor was priceless, and that money was the only way to give me the power of a fresh start. But the money, it didn't matter anymore. The true prize was the chance to restart at sea, to be in command again. I wasn't just the commander of a ship, but the commander of my own life. I bid farewell to Davies, leaving him with the certainty that the truth would prevail. On the deck of the Triton, the Key West sunset painted the sky orange. Ava stood beside me, looking at the bow, her gaze now one of complicity and respect. She knew I was a clean man. I feel like the commander again. I look at the horizon, the vast and unknown Atlantic opening before me. The fortune was mine. The ship was mine. The truth was mine. I was ready for the next adventure, not as a disgraced commander, but as a reborn captain. The tide had turned, and this time, I was at the helm. This is my story, and the truth about the $82 million comes to an end. If you have made it this far, navigating with me through every storm, every doubt and every twist at sea, I can only thank you for your loyalty. You saw how life took everything from me, left me adrift, but also gave me a fighting chance to reclaim my name and my purpose. I recovered command of my ship, and more importantly, of myself. If you felt the pressure of that dive, if you were rooting for me not to be bought by the money, and if you value the truth above all else, I ask for one final favor. Subscribe to the channel right now and hit the bell, so you can be the first to embark on my next adventure. And tell me in the comments, if you were Commander Vance, would you have taken the money without uncovering the secret behind it? Leave your opinion below. Your support is what keeps me at the helm. I'll see you next time. Stay safe and fair winds.